Yes, we are back here on WLTH 1370 AM. Free Speech Friday. Issues and answers. Hope you guys like Fela. Sometimes you gotta take it back to the motherland. You know, sometimes it's good to leave America. One place it's not good to be right now is Haiti. Yes. Now, I don't know how much the mainstream corporate media is highlighting this, but we are actually invading Haiti once again. This is I think the fourth or fifth time that we've invaded Haiti over the last 100 and something years. We've overthrown their government 3 times. We helped put the current puppet Ariel Henry that they have in power now, and the people are rising up against that. They are rising up against him. They've been rioting and protesting, and so now he's begging for help. Our puppet is begging for help, and we are supposedly giving it to him, which means arming more gangs to suppress the protest, the rightful protest against a corrupt government. Now, it's important to remember, it's important for all of us to remember that Haiti did not get in this situation out of the blue. This has been hundreds of years that the Haitian people have been forced to suffer at the hands of the French, the British, the United States, because this was the first successful slave rebellion in the entire world. Those people got free in 1804 from up under the French, and they have been made to pay for it ever since. It's important to talk about that because when people look at situations like the Haiti situation, they go, well, how did it end up this way? Why is it like this? You know, the media likes to portray it as if this is a poor black country run by black people who don't know what the hell they're doing. And really, they need the United States or France or some imperialist power to come in and teach them how to be civilized. That's the way it's presented. They will not tell you that France bankrupted Haiti by forcing it to pay reparations to slave owners for 122 years. They were forced to pay the French. You know who made sure they paid the French? We did. Our country did. The United States government made sure that they paid the French every penny. They did not get finished paying the French, I believe, into the 1930s. I believe it was the 1930s they finally got done paying the French. It's important to remember that the United States occupied Haiti for 19 years in the early 20th century. During that time, 40% of the wealth that came from the Haitians, land and resources, went to the U.S. and French debtors. You know, we talked about how their government is a puppet government placed there by the United States. But we don't talk about how situations like how Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton fought to keep Haiti's minimum wage at, I believe it was 40 cents an hour in 2011, because the Haitians actually were trying to, Haitian laborers were fighting for a living wage, and the United States government at the time fought to keep those wages low. So once again, these are people who are living hand to mouth. They are literally living hand to mouth. The type of violence and instability that you see in Haiti is there because the United States government, on top of other imperialist governments, have pushed Haiti into that type of situation. Now, all I want to know is, Where are all the Haitian flags in everybody's Twitter bio? Where's everybody to talk about how much they love Haiti the way they do Ukraine? Haiti's been occupied multiple times by its neighbor, the United States, has had its government overthrown multiple times by its neighbor, the United States. You would think all these people who love Ukraine so much, because they're blonde hair, blue-eyed white people, would also love Haitians. But the Haitians get no such luck. Let me go to this caller. Hello, caller. What's up?
Hey, Scott, I don't want to change your subject, but I just want to ask you a question, and maybe I can get your opinion before you leave the show.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think there is an attack on the black male's masculinity? Through social media, I'm going to be honest, through also black women, that there's an attack on the black male's masculinity, and it's really getting bad because I don't know if you saw this picture, but it shows a black male in a dress.
Oh, God.
And he was a line of black females dressed up in these suits.
Oh, God.
But the suits show the women, these black women, with male genitalia.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh.
And it seems like right now there's just a strict attack on black males, and it's through social media. I'm going to say it's through the government and also the black woman, because I have heard plenty of black women that are in position, and the way I hear them talk about the black male, and their famous excuse is, well, it's about time a woman can stand up and do this, stand up and do that. And I think what it does is it does more to hurt the black household, because it's coming to a point to where there are no men in the house. And I'm going to just keep it real with this LGBT thing being pushed. I know someone who his significant other, they ended up separating, and she went with that alternative lifestyle. And the woman that's in her life now told him that if he's going to come get his son, he has to call her first. And it is just
add insult to injury. Yeah.
And then the fight that a black male has to go through to get visitation rights to their kids, because I had to go through one of mine, and someone told me, well, you didn't fight hard enough. Why should the black male have to fight it more to be in his son's life?
Well, thank you for your call.
Get your opinion.
All right, thank you for your call. Look, I think that it is astroturfed on some level. Like, real black women that I know, working class black women here in the city of Gary, for the most part, you're not going to find bigger defenders of black men than the average working class black woman, especially older black women. Like, whenever we do Cosby segments on this show, I don't hide the fact that I think Cosby did something. You know, I don't think 60, 70 women just out and out accuse Cosby for no reason. I think once you start getting into the numbers that Cosby and R. Kelly and Weinstein, and once you start getting into numbers, Jeffrey Epstein, once you start getting into 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 women, I think it's pretty hard to say that they're all lying. The only people that usually call to defend Cosby are usually black women. Older black women especially. I think what has happened is that, and I talk about it here on this show a lot, and I get a lot of pushback from people who don't like me saying this, but I truly believe it's true, which is that liberals have pushed their ideologies on the black community. And they've used the black church, social media, they've used black media, because look, they control Hollywood. They control the news media. Most of your Hollywood actors are liberals, most of your directors and people and tastemakers. And so once they start pushing something, it's hard to push back against it. It's hard to push back against it. And so I think that a lot of younger women are being fed this nonsense on social media because they don't have any examples to show them otherwise. And unfortunately, like you talked about, there was a lot of black men have been pushed out of the household. That's one thing I will say Kanye said that I agreed with, you know, but he actually talked about how black men being pushed out of their children's lives, and that is true. That is true. Very much so. Like I said, I definitely think that it is, a lot of that has to do with the way, the fact that our leadership, there's a black miss leadership class in this country. There really is. There is a black miss leadership class in this country. A lot of them are at the churches because black ministers, you know, the Clintons of the world and the Bidens of the world pay them off. The Obamas of the world pay them off for their support. And it's in the black media, which again, if you want a job in the media, you got to go through white liberals. That's just what you're going to have to do, you know? And it's a, like George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. You ain't in it. We ain't in it. And so a lot of the stuff that they're pushing is not organically from the black community. It is not organically from us in places like Gary or Detroit or Flint, Michigan, or the south side of Chicago. These are black people who are being astroturfed, propped up by Hollywood, propped up by corporations, propped up by, you know, liberals, you know, and this is what Malcolm X talked about back in the 60s. Okay, Malcolm X was very open about what he thought about liberals at the time. He did not hide the disdain that he had for liberals that he thought were controlling the black community.
Who are trying to solve the problem, but you never see them going under the label of liberals. That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox, and a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to, but the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling. You take him for a friend.
There are many whites who act friendly toward Negroes. A fox acts friendly toward the lamb. And usually the fox is the one who ends up with the lamb chop on his plate. The wolf doesn't act friendly, and therefore the wolf has more difficulty in getting the lamb chop in his plate.
I'd like to point out, though, that...
I say that because it is usually if you study the structure of the Negro community, economically, politically, civically, psychologically, and otherwise, it's controlled by the white liberal, who usually poses as the friend of the Negro.
And there you have it. You know, I never understood what Malcolm was talking about when I was a kid, because as somebody on the left, I did what a lot of people do, which is conflate liberalism and leftism together. But no, liberalism is something totally different than the left. Okay, there's a reason that Malcolm X could be friends with Che Guevara and Fidel Castro, while at the same time not being big fans of, you know, the liberal whites that he's talking about in those clips. And it's because the actual left wing wants to change the wealth and power structure. The capitalist system that exploits black people, mass incarceration, imperialism, that you see what the United States is doing all over the world with its 900 military bases. The left is anti that. Liberals are pro that. But they use identity politics, and they use being friendly to black people as a way to push their social agendas and to push an overall imperialistic and capitalistic agenda on our black community. You cannot control strong, masculine black men. You can't do that. That's why they had to get rid of Darren Seals. I played the clip from Darren Seals a few weeks ago in Ferguson. This brother had the revolutionary fire of a young Malcolm X. You know, this man, when we lost him, we lost a real soldier in Darren Seals. I'm sorry.
I'm not with no organization. I represent the streets. The ones who out there fighting and dying every day When Mike Brown was just a young boy laying in the streets dead, he didn't get none of this. Half of y'all didn't even come support him. It was the streets. CNN didn't care. Listen, when Mike Brown was just a young man laying in the streets dead for 4 hours, it was me, a couple other faces out here, and that's it. Wasn't no CNN, wasn't no Jesse, wasn't no Al, wasn't none of that. We gotta start valuing black lives. Value these young men. They ain't the next presidents, the next governors, the next mayors, and y'all write them off. The elders, they don't even respect us how they should. We respect our elders, but respect us too, love us too. We the after crack era. We the AC generation, after crack. Our fathers left us. Our fathers left us. We are the monster y'all created when y'all left those homes and let the women raise us. The mothers raised us. I love these women out here. I represent these women out here. I'm gonna tell y'all something. All of this cameras and light don't mean nothing. Guess what? Cause when all the fame gone, CNN ain't coming us no more, it's us out there gonna be fighting and dying every day how it started. So
yep, and that's exactly why they had to get rid of Darren Seals. That's why he was found dead in a car that was set on fire in Ferguson, Missouri. Because that young man from the streets, who was talking from the streets, a very masculine soldier from the streets, this guy was not going to be controlled. He was not going to let the Black Lives Matter, liberal George Soros types control him. And so they had to get rid of him. They had to get rid of him. And that's important. It's important to say when we talk about all these issues of imperialism, of racism, of classism, of capitalism, this is what they feared. They feared Darren Seals. And that's why he's not here no more. Okay? They fear young, black, masculine energy just like that. And so they're going to astroturf all the movements to try to remove that from our community. Now the issue is, are we going to let them? Okay? Are we going to let them? And it's important when we talk about things like hip-hop, when we talk about things like social media, when we talk about things that black people make and break with our influence, that we stop letting these outsiders tell us what our culture is and dictate our culture to us. And a lot of these black elders who will sell their souls for a show on MSNBC or a seat at the New York Times or any of these other liberal media organizations, or with the corporate sellout Democratic Party, who help mass incarcerate us and overthrow Haiti's government and bomb Africans. It's important. They got to start being called out too. That's why I call them out here. I just had somebody on Facebook get at me, mad at me because I talk about the Democratic Party. This is why. This is why. Okay, I'm no fan of Jennifer Ruth Green. I talked about her last week. I talked about Jennifer Ruth Green last week on this show and how I think she's a liar for what she said about Frank J. Mervan. I don't think he did that. I think her campaign leaked that information about her being sexually assaulted to try to make her seem more sympathetic. And the evidence makes it appear that way. But the Democrats are the ones who, like Malcolm X, side up next to us and pretend to be our friends. And as long as that is the case, I will keep calling them out. All right, folks, we got to go to a break. Please stick with us here on Issues and Answers. I'll be right back after this.